Our verse today is 2 Samuel chapter 11 verse 4. So David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. Now she had been purifying herself from her uncleanness. Then she returned to her house. The story of the adultery of David with Bathsheba is very well known. David had been successful in battle and conquered many lands. This time he sent Joab, the army leader, to battle the Ammonites while he remained in Jerusalem. Then while walking on the king's house one late afternoon, he saw a beautiful woman bathing from the roof of his house. Notice that David seems to be idle. His men were on the battlefield where he ought to be, but he had time to relax and look around. David inquired who the woman was, and they told him he was the daughter of Eliam and the wife of Uriah. David cannot claim ignorance that the woman was married. Nevertheless, he made a move. Our verse says, David sent messengers and took her. The Hebrew verb used in this instance is lakach, which means to take, lay hold, or seize. It could also mean to acquire or take away. There is a subtle sense of force in this verb. Although some interpreters think that the woman came of her own volition, I can't entirely agree because the narrative has a sense of power play. Contrary to some positions questioning why the woman would have her bath outside during the day, it was common to bathe in the garden when it was hot afternoon. Read the story of Susanna. The king sent messengers to take her or bring her, not seek her consent. This understanding is consistent with the message of God to David through the prophet Nathan later. And we read, Now there came a traveler to the rich man, and he was unwilling to take one of his own flock or herd to prepare for the guest who had come to him. But he took the poor man's lamb and prepared it for the man who had come to him. 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 4. David was a rich man, not content with what he has, but goes after what the poor man has. He exercised his power over the poor man and this poor woman. Yes, the woman came to him and could not turn down the king's offer, and David lay with her. After she purified herself because of the sexual act, which is consistent with the laws of purification we find in the book of Leviticus, she returned to her house. What lessons do we learn from this verse? First, an idle mind, they say, is the devil's workshop. When one is unoccupied with the right things, other things will occupy the mind. Second, the rich and powerful use their positions oftentimes to usurp the rights of the poor and vulnerable under their care. We hear stories of politicians, celebrities, and religious leaders using their power and position to abuse people sexually. Third, this passage also teaches us clearly that adultery is a sin. Finally, David would even go ahead to conceal this evil and take the woman's husband's life to marry the woman. How often do we sin to cover up our evil actions? Lord, create in us a clean and pure heart to keep away from evil thoughts and desires. Amen. God bless you, and I wish you a lovely day.